Hello, Radiant Leo, let me ask you this. What if the beautiful surprise you've been waiting for is already on its way? And what if you didn't stumble upon this video by chance, but because the universe is aligning something magnificent just for you? Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, where astrology meets transformation. This isn't just another weekly horoscope. This is a sacred conversation between your soul and the stars, a mirror held up to your divine timing. And today, Leo, something is shifting. You can feel it, can't you? In your chest. In your bones. In that quiet place inside you that knows something big is approaching. From May 26th to June 1st, you're entering a rare energy window, one that whispers of destiny, alignment, and manifestation. And this reading is your invitation to step forward. Because let's be honest, you didn't come here just to hear predictions. You came to remember your fire. To reconnect with your light. You came for clarity. And above all, you came for truth. The truth of who you are. What you deserve. And what's already making its way into your life, even if you can't see it yet. In Buddhist teachings, we are reminded, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. You may not have searched for this video, but perhaps your spirit did. You are not lost. You are being guided. And no matter what the world looks like outside, inside, your soul is awake. So, if you've been asking for a sign, this is it. This week's energy is not only beautiful, it's charged. The stars are aligning in your favor. Tarot speaks of divine timing. Numerology highlights repeating numbers, 555 for transformation, 222 for alignment, 777 for spiritual reward. And everything points to one undeniable truth: you are stepping into a new chapter. But the universe doesn't just give, it responds. It responds to faith, to action, to intention. And today, I'm here to help you activate that within yourself. Before we dive in, I want to pause and say something from the heart. Thank you. Truly, for being here. Every time you like, comment, or subscribe, you do more than support this channel. You send a message to the universe that you're ready to engage with your path. And in return, the universe moves closer to you. So thank you for that, deeply. Your presence makes this space sacred. Your energy fuels eternal mindfulness. And your trust allows us to bring you readings that aren't just entertainment, they're soul medicine. Now, Leo, stay with me. Because what the universe is about to reveal, it's nothing short of extraordinary. You won't want to miss a single second. But first, tell me in the comments below. What drew you here today? Was it a sign you saw? A number you've been seeing? A feeling in your chest you couldn't shake? Let's begin, and let's begin from the truth. You are not here by accident. You are here because it's time. You've reached a pivotal moment in your cosmic timeline, Leo, a place where the past can no longer support the version of you that's trying to emerge. This is the point where instinct alone is not enough, where raw emotion must be tempered with clarity, where the fire in your heart needs direction, not just fuel. The universe isn't blocking you, it's refining your path. And if you've been feeling resistance lately, that's not a failure. It's guidance. It's your higher nature whispering, what brought you this far won't carry you further unless you evolve your strategy. The Ace of Swords, a card of piercing truth and sudden insight, has appeared in your spread for a reason. It represents the mental clarity and intentional precision now required to advance. In astrology, this energy mirrors Mercury's alignment with your solar chart, a call to cut through the noise, eliminate distraction, and focus your mind like a beam of light. It's time to upgrade your plan. The same dreams, yes, but a different approach. Imagine yourself not just as a player in the cosmic game, but as a chess master, poised and present. Your moves must be deliberate, not reactive. Your vision must stretch beyond what's in front of you. In spiritual disciplines, there's a quiet understanding that wisdom is not always about knowing more, but about seeing with greater awareness. And right now, Leo, you're being asked to pause and observe what is truly working for you. What have you been holding on to out of habit rather than purpose? This is not a moment for impulsive decisions. It's a moment for design. Real strategy doesn't mean control in the rigid sense. It means living in harmony with a higher intelligence, both within you and around you. When you write down your intentions with a calm mind and a focused heart, you align yourself with the architecture of the cosmos. You become not just the dreamer, but the builder. Not just the fire, but the form. There's a principle often taught in mindfulness practice. If you don't change the direction you're going, you may end up where you never intended to be. And for someone like you, with your inherent leadership, your courage, your need to create impact, living by default is not an option. This is a call to reclaim your authority over your path. The world doesn't need a scattered Leo. It needs the king or queen you were born to be, not ruling others, but ruling your own energy, your own time, your own story. And let's talk about humility. Seeking guidance isn't weakness, it's strength. A wise leader learns from those who have walked before them. Someone out there has already navigated the terrain you're facing. Ask them. Observe them. Not to become them, but to better understand yourself. Wisdom is not imitation. It is integration. So now I ask you, not as a viewer of this video, but as a co-creator of your future, who do you need to listen to this week? What truth have you been avoiding because it demands change? Can you allow clarity to feel more powerful than chaos? These are not rhetorical questions. They are doorways. And only you can decide whether to walk through. Because no matter how brightly the stars shine above you, it is the clarity in your next move, the one you make with both courage and awareness, that will determine how far your light reaches. The energy surrounding you this week, Leo, is like the sky just before dawn, quiet, powerful, and filled with unseen movement. There's something rising within you, something subtle yet unmistakably alive, the feeling that what you've been hoping for isn't just a fantasy, but a future possibility starting to take shape. The appearance of the Star card, paired with the Ace of Pentacles, is no coincidence. It signals that the wish you've been holding in your heart, the one you may have whispered in silence or kept tucked away in your journal, is not only heard by the universe, but already in motion. But energy, no matter how divine, still requires a form. And that form begins with intention. There is a quiet wisdom in writing things down. The act of taking what is abstract and turning it into words grounds the energy of a dream and gives it shape. When you write your wishes by hand, not on a phone, not in passing thoughts, but consciously and with presence, you declare to the universe, I am ready. I am serious. I am not only dreaming, I am aligning. This isn't about magical thinking. It's about clarity. It's about crafting a bridge between where you are and where you want to be. The ancients taught that thought becomes speech, speech becomes action, and action becomes destiny. And so, the simple gesture of writing is more than ritual, it is alignment. This week, consider taking a quiet moment for yourself. Light a candle if you like, or simply find stillness, and write 3 intentional lines. I am ready to receive. I believe I am worthy of. Today, I will take one step by. The words don't have to be perfect. They only need to be true. Because the act of declaring your intention is what sets the momentum in motion. The presence of the Ace of Pentacles in this reading adds another layer of confirmation. This is not just wishful thinking, it's a doorway to physical results. Pentacles are about the material world, opportunities, finances, health, grounded progress. Combined with the star, this is the universe saying, yes. But show me you're ready. You're being asked to meet your dreams halfway. Whether it's updating your resume, reaching out to someone who inspires you, cleaning the space where you work, these small actions become signals. They tell the energy around you that you are no longer waiting. You are preparing. In practices that explore the nature of cause and effect, there is a principle that teaches this. What you plant with mindful presence will ripen in time. But planting isn't enough. You must tend. You must return to that intention again and again, not with desperation, but with faith. Faith that the unseen is already moving. Faith that your role is not to force, but to cooperate with the natural rhythm of becoming. Numerologically, the number 17, associated with the star, carries high vibrational energy of hope, resilience, and alignment with purpose. If you've been seeing 17, 117, or even just drawn to star shapes or silvery colors, pay attention. These are not random. They are echoes of your own energetic field aligning with what is possible. Wearing white or silver this week can help you remain in sync with this subtle current, not as superstition, but as symbolic reinforcement of the clarity and purity behind your intentions. And above all else, Leo, remember this: you are not chasing your dreams. You are inviting them. The moment you write, the moment you act, the moment you believe, it all begins to return to you. Not because you demanded it, but because you became the space where it could finally land. Change often arrives without warning, and when it does, it rarely feels gentle. It can come as a conversation you weren't ready for, an ending you didn't expect, or a moment when everything you once counted on begins to lose its shape. And yet, here you are, Leo, still standing, even if your heart is a little bruised. The presence of the 10 of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune in your reading isn't meant to alarm you. It's meant to affirm something sacred. A chapter is closing, not to punish you, but to clear the path for something better aligned with who you are now becoming. What no longer supports your growth is quietly being removed, not because you've failed, but because you've outgrown what was. This isn't just about letting go. It's about recognizing that endings are not simply voids, they are transitions. The Wheel of Fortune reminds us that life is cyclical, and you are now being asked to cooperate with the rhythm of your own becoming. There is an ancient principle that speaks to this truth. When the conditions no longer nourish the seed must break through. But to do that, it must first leave the safety of the shell. And leaving the shell can hurt. Whether it's a relationship, a role you've held onto, or an identity that once felt safe, you may be feeling the loss not just in your circumstances, but in your body, in your breath. Emotional release is not weakness, it's a necessary step in metabolizing change. So allow yourself space this week to feel what arises without judgment. Hydrate often. Magnesium and vitamin B can be small yet powerful supports for your nervous system during emotional recalibration. Let your rituals be simple: clean water, deep breathing, restful sleep. These are not luxuries. They are your anchors. Financially, there's also an opportunity here to practice conscious detachment. Often during transitions, we cling to spending as a form of comfort, but the most powerful message you can send to yourself right now is this: I can trust life even when I'm not in control. Open your wallet slowly. Ask yourself, is this a need or a need for distraction? Your clarity in this moment is more valuable than any purchase. And then there is love, the most tender space of all. If someone has chosen to leave your life, or if you've had to walk away from someone who no longer walks with you, remember this: releasing someone doesn't erase the love. It allows love to shift into its next form. Sometimes, that love becomes a lesson. Sometimes, it becomes a deeper connection with yourself. And sometimes, letting go is the highest form of love you can offer, for them and for you. If you've been noticing the number 555 around you lately, on receipts, clocks, license plates, it's not random. In numerology, this is the sign of transition, of divine movement, of shedding old skins to make space for new light. Take it as a reassurance: you are not breaking apart, you are being reassembled. The truth is, you've already made it through the hardest part, admitting that something needs to change. Now, you're simply walking your soul home. One breath, one decision, one softened heart at a time. And even if you can't see it yet, the horizon has already shifted in your favor. You're not being pushed into emptiness. You're being invited into clarity. Let the old fall away, Leo. You're not losing yourself, you're finally making space to meet who you were always meant to become. Sometimes life brings us someone not to change our path, but to help us see it more clearly. When the Two of Cups appears alongside the King of Wands and King of Cups, it's not just a prediction of connection, it's an invitation to expand how you define support, partnership, and trust. This week, Leo, a presence may arrive in your orbit, perhaps subtly, perhaps unexpectedly, but with a sense of familiarity that reaches beyond logic. It may be romantic, professional, or simply soul-aligned. Regardless of form, what matters is how this energy feels: grounding, inspiring, and deeply safe. In astrology, the arrival of someone new is often tied to transits activating the 7th or 11th houses, the zones of partnership, allies, and soul contracts. But beyond the planetary influences, there is a deeper truth at play here. When you're evolving internally, the universe often sends people who reflect or catalyze that transformation. These are not just companions, they're mirrors. And whether they stay a moment or a lifetime, their role is precise: to open a door you didn't know you'd closed. The King of Wands brings confidence, vision, and leadership. This figure may show up as someone who embodies the courage you've been trying to awaken in yourself. They might challenge you to rise, to step forward, or to see your potential more boldly. Meanwhile, the King of Cups adds emotional wisdom, someone who holds presence rather than pressure, whose calmness offers you space to soften. Combined, these energies point toward balanced guidance, strength without force, and compassion without dependency. But here's the thing about receiving guidance or love: it requires vulnerability. And vulnerability, especially after heartache or betrayal, can feel like a risk too great. That's why this part of your journey isn't just about who's arriving, it's about whether your heart is willing to greet them. If you've been guarding yourself too tightly, you may not recognize the hand that's being extended. You might misread sincerity as strategy, or mistake kindness for an agenda. That's not weakness, it's protection born from experience. But growth asks us not to erase the past, only to stop letting it write every future chapter. There is a quiet teaching that reminds us, the next teacher often comes disguised as a friend. And the next blessing sometimes arrives wrapped in hesitation. So the question isn't just who this person might be. It's, can you welcome what you don't yet fully understand? Can you let someone in, not because they've proven themselves, but because you've decided to meet life with curiosity, not just caution? This is not about giving your power away. On the contrary, it's about choosing connection from a place of wholeness, not need. When your self-respect is intact, you don't collapse into others, you collaborate. You don't seek rescue, you allow resonance. And from there, relationships become growth spaces, not escape hatches. This week, if someone stirs something in you, inspiration, recognition, even resistance, pay attention. Often the people who awaken us aren't the loudest ones. They are the ones who speak directly to something unspoken inside you. If you feel seen in a way that's both strange and familiar, lean in. The universe may be sending you a guide disguised as a conversation, a compliment, or a quiet moment shared over nothing in particular. So ask yourself gently, are you open to being met, not where you were, but where you're now ready to go? There are moments when sleep escapes us not because of the noise around us, but because of the storm within. If you found yourself lying awake at night, mind spinning, heart pacing, thoughts pulling you back into old memories or imagined futures, know this: it isn't a sign of weakness. It's not failure. It's a signal, a quiet whisper from your inner self that something needs to be released. The Nine of Swords reflects this tender space with honesty. It shows the mind in overdrive, tangled in thoughts that have outstayed their purpose. And yet, its presence in your reading isn't meant to burden you. It's here to illuminate what you've been carrying alone for too long. In many contemplative traditions, there is a teaching that suffering arises not simply from pain, but from the resistance to it. We cling to outcomes, identities, regrets, and what-ifs, not because they serve us, but because they've become familiar. And the mind, in its attempt to protect us, loops these thoughts like a wheel that refuses to stop turning. But what would happen if, instead of fighting that restlessness, you allowed it to show you what still needs attention? What might you discover if you looked at your sleeplessness not as something to get rid of, but as something to listen to? This week invites you to make space for that listening. Not with judgment. Not with the pressure to fix. But with compassion. When you feel overwhelmed or anxious, try something simple, write it down. Not to solve it immediately, but to move it out of your head and onto the page. Let your fears, worries, and thoughts be witnessed in ink. Then, if you feel ready, offer them a symbolic goodbye. Burn the paper. Bury it. Tear it up and throw it to the wind. What matters is not the method, but the message: I am no longer carrying this alone. The Strength card, ruled by Leo, appears here as a gentle reminder that your power is not defined by how much you endure in silence. It is revealed in your willingness to face what is uncomfortable with courage and care. True strength is not the absence of emotion, it is the ability to hold space for emotion without letting it take the wheel. You are not your anxiety. You are not your fear. These are temporary visitors in the vast, steady home that is your being. And when you remember that, even your most restless nights can become doorways to clarity. There's a reason why transformation often begins with discomfort. Growth requires space, and space is created when something old is released. Sometimes, that's a habit. Sometimes, it's an idea about yourself. Sometimes, it's simply the belief that you must carry everything alone. But the truth is, you don't. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to breathe. And you're allowed to change. One small step that can help is a nightly ritual. Not a routine you must perfect, just a moment of stillness to check in. Sit quietly before bed, place a hand over your chest, and ask yourself, what am I still holding on to? Let the answer rise naturally. Whatever comes, thank it. Then tell yourself, gently, but with conviction, I release what no longer serves me. Remember, healing doesn't always happen in a burst of light. Sometimes, it begins in the dark, in the quiet, in the breath you decide to take instead of the thought you almost followed. You're not failing when you feel overwhelmed. You're just arriving at the edge of something ready to be let go. And once you do, once you lay down what was never meant to be carried forever, sleep will come not as escape, but as peace. If you're still here, Leo, it means your soul has heard the call, not from someone outside you, but from the future version of yourself who's been waiting patiently for you to remember your light. Maybe you're standing at a crossroads right now. Maybe something inside you is torn between what's familiar and what's possible. That's okay. Growth doesn't ask you to have it all figured out. It simply asks you to move, even if just one small step, in the direction of who you're becoming. You don't need permission to begin. You don't need everything to feel perfect. You just need to decide, I am ready to take responsibility for what I truly desire. Because here's the truth, wishes don't come true by accident. They take shape through clarity, through courage, through consistent intention. The universe can only respond to what you're willing to act on. So if you've been holding something quietly in your heart, something you've been longing for but haven't dared to say out loud, now is the moment. Don't wait for a sign. Be the sign. Start simple. Write your intention on paper. Clean one corner of your space with presence. Reach out to that person you've been meaning to connect with. Speak your truth in the mirror. These aren't just small acts. They are declarations, energetic signatures telling the universe, I am not just dreaming. I'm preparing. And when you prepare from the inside out, your life begins to reflect that readiness in ways you can't always predict, but will always feel. So take a deep breath with me. Place your hand on your heart. Ask gently, what do I truly want to experience next? Wait. Listen. Then write it down. Even if it scares you. Especially if it scares you. And if you're ready, if you feel even a flicker of courage, share that desire in the comments below. Not for validation, but as a sacred promise to yourself. A moment where your future self begins to come alive. Thank you, truly, for spending this time with me. Your presence here is not just appreciated, it's part of something bigger. Every like, every share, every comment you leave is an act of energy exchange that fuels this channel and connects you more deeply to our eternal mindfulness family. I see you. I believe in you. And I am so honored to walk this part of your journey with you. And Leo, trust me when I say, you'll want to stay close in the coming days. Because the next chapter the universe is writing for you, it's not only beautiful. It's bold. It's abundant. It's exactly what your soul has been preparing for. Let's step into it together, with clarity, with intention, and with that fierce, golden heart of yours fully awake.